Firegirl Chapter 5. Mrs. Tracy clapped her hands together and everybody looked to the front of the class. I have two announcements to make, she said. The first is something that worked very well last year in social studies, so I'd like to try it again with you. No tests? Said Rich. Yay, no tests! Funny, Rich, but no, Mrs. Tracy said. I'm talking about having an election in class. Just like the real political elections coming up in a few weeks, in which I hope your parents will vote. I'd like to have a mini election right here, an election for class president. Mrs. Tracy was beaming. I liked to see her so excited. It was fun when she was really into something. She was tall and thin and not too old. Though she had been around for as long as I had been at St. Catherine's, she still seemed to get excited with each new class. I knew from the way seventh graders had talked about her in the past that she was the teacher to get, and it turned out to be true. Our first month in seventh grade had been one of the best so far. This is how it will work, she said. For the first 3 weeks, we'll be learning about how governments work and what it means to hold public office. At the end of that time, we'll have a primary. That's when you can choose candidates from amongst yourselves. Everyone will have a chance to nominate someone they think would be best to lead the class in several activities we'll do this year. Can we nominate ourselves? Asked Joey Sinsman. You better, said Jeff. No one else will nominate you. Yes, we can nominate ourselves, Mrs. Tracy said, though it would be nice if you offered your support to someone else in the class. Joey pretended to nod thoughtfully. I heard Jeff chuckle quietly, probably because he got away with what he said. Once we decide on candidates, we'll vote, Mrs. Tracy said. The winner will be our classroom president. The first thing he or she will do is help me plan our Thanksgiving presentation for the parents. The president will form a committee for that. If this works out, we might have another election before Christmas for a new president. Maybe we'll do it every month. There's planning for our spring field trip, too. I would make sure we went to see a Broadway show, maybe Phantom, said Darlene, reminding everyone that she was Alice in last summer's Pee-wee Alice in Wonderland, and that was taking professional singing lessons also. Mrs. Tracy smiled. I'm sure that together we can think of a lot of good ideas to consider. And because all of the committees, everyone who wants to be involved can be. Trust me, every other class has loved this. And I'm sure it will be exciting and a lot of fun for you too. It'll be a great way to learn about ourselves and the way people work together. I glanced over at Courtney. She was looking up at the teacher, her pencil swaying back and forth between her fingers. It was stupid, but I remember wondering right then if there might be something in this election, some way that things could happen that would give me a way to do something she might notice. Maybe I couldn't exactly save her life, but my mouth suddenly went dry. No, keep it to yourself, I thought. But it was so easy. I couldn't keep to myself. I got hot again under my blazer. Sweat rolled down inside my shirt. I could nominate Courtney. I could nominate her and then vote for her. Wait, could I? I could. It would seem so natural because she's so incredible. Who wouldn't nominate her? But if I nominated her, it would move me to a whole nother level. I'd be getting out there, and I'd finally be visible. Mostly, it would connect our names in class. Mrs. Tracy, I'd like to nominate Courtney Ziske. Me, Tom, her, Courtney. She was so popular she would win, of course, and then she would say it. Thank you, Tom. Was it possible? Could it happen? Never mind the adventures for now. This was real. This was actually possible. My heart was beating very fast. Courtney, yes. Ryan Ponaki said, What's the second announcement? No tests, said Rich, trying his joke again and snickering quietly, but getting no laughs at all this time. Mrs. Tracy glanced at the note on her desk. Well, a new girl will be joining our class today, she said. In just a few minutes, actually. Her name is Jessica Feeney. Right away, the class broke into a low buzzing noise. It's nice she's here for the election, said Kayla, looking directly at Mrs. Tracy. Right at the beginning, I mean. Samantha Embriano raised her hand. I'll show her around, and she can be my lunch buddy for a week. This week, okay? I guess I'll take next week, said Eric Lobianco, a large boy who everyone said had wet his seat in second grade because the teacher wouldn't let him leave the class to use the bathroom. Wait, is she good looking? The girls in the room squealed and gagged. Jeff laughed sharply. Rich howled. A new girl? I looked at Mrs. Tracy's face for some sign of what kind of person this girl might be. She had a cool name, Jessica. For an instant, I wondered if she would be as pretty as Courtney. But just after I'd made all these plans about the election, wouldn't it be strange if a new girl came in smelling like peaches too? No way, forget that. I nearly laughed out loud in my seat. No matter how good Jessica Feeney looked, no matter how nice she was, she'd never replace Courtney. A flash of Courtney in skiing clothes suddenly came into my mind. There was a distant echo of sniper shots in the white mountains behind her. I smiled a little to myself. So that was it. I would nominate Courtney and vote for her. Then she'd know. It would be so cool. It's odd to think of how I almost missed what Mrs. Tracy said next. I almost missed it, thinking about Courtney, but I looked up just in time, and now I can never forget it. There is, Mrs. Tracy was saying quietly, there is something you need to know about Jessica.